there's a common thread that links them. So, to kick things off, do you know what a red room is, Your Honor? Red room? Red room? I assume you're not referring to the obvious connotation. You assume correctly. I don't know how much you know about the so-called deep web. It's more or less the part of the internet that has all sorts of weird and/or illicit material. But for every one truth about the police, there are two overly embellished rumors. Years ago, people started claiming they were private, invitation-only live streams of murder, torture, or whatever heinous crime made your story more interesting, basically. These urban legends were called Red Rooms because, well, actually, I have no idea. It was all a myth, though. There are countless logistical problems with running one of these things. Until 5 years ago, when someone actually made one. Okay, that's where this is going. Now, you may or may not have heard mention of something called NX0. That's what it is, a red room. The red room. Shields room and board. 9 people were forced to kill each other for the enjoyment of a live audience. And that's how those 3 are connected. Kurt Bishop was the LAPD's lead investigator into NX0 for a short while, and Graves and Montclair are survivors. Survivors. Well, I suspected as much. I appreciate the information, prosecutor, but you still haven't answered my question. Who phoned Montclair? During their imprisonment, those 9 captives were occasionally spoken to by their captor. And they used a voice modulator when they addressed their victims. To answer your question, we don't really know who called Montclair. Not definitively. But whoever they were, they spoke as the serial kidnapper Shield. Aha. Shield is still active in all this? And for those of you who can't put 2 and 2 together, what I mean is, whoever called Montclair did so using Shield's unique voice modulation. Of course, the number of people who know what that modulation sounds like and can imitate it is limited to Shield himself, as well as the 4 survivors of the room and board. To bring this whole thing back around to our current topic, our list of possible killers includes 2 nurses, 30 supervised patients, 2 victims, and 1 guy who survived a murder game. Guess who's suspicious? The guy who survived the murder game? Guess I shouldn't have expected to come out of that on top. Oh well. At least we finally got some of that out in the open. Shield summons. A letter and 2 phone calls. It seems strange that the killer would use 2 different methods to call his targets to the scene. I don't see why Bishop wouldn't have reacted to being called Shield as well. Being called by Shield as well. Seeing as he was in charge of the initial NX0 investigation. At the same time, what would the big twist here be? 2 different senders? Doubt 2 unrelated events collided on a rooftop at the same flippin' time during a hurricane. Still though, it's curious. I believe you yourself told me, Detective, that my client had displayed no signs of being suicidal prior to the murder.
Objection!
Then he would have also told you that everyone who knew him said he was a very reserved individual. Besides, that's not even a real argument. Mental health isn't a black and white issue, Mia. Come on, it's 2019.
Objection!
Even so, consider the effort the culprit made to uncover their tracks. Why would someone planning to commit suicide try to mask their intentions? What the heck are you even talking about? The reason we don't have any evidence isn't because the killer covered their tracks. suspects. Because of the circumstances of the crime and the way the murder was carried out. What about the phone call my client allegedly faked to himself? It's a little odd, sure, but we also don't know when this became a suicide mission for Graves. It's quite possible that he intended to escape with his own life at first. Well, it was worth a shot. Okay. I think I've gotten all the details I can from the detective. Just got one thing left to ask. Detective, would you be willing to do us a favor? You've given us all the details pertaining to the murder, but it's a bit messy. Do you think you could give the court a timeline of what happened at the hospital that night? Yeah, I could run through it for you. Alright. Well, the crime starts 5 days before the murder occurs. That's when Montclair received the phone call that was presumably made by the defendant. Also, Detective Bishop received that letter, but a positive where he got it exactly. With those two things out of the way, the killer's preparations were complete. So jumping ahead... The night of the crime, Donald Graves arrived at the hospice at 11:30, half hour early. We knew this because one of the nurses on duty that night was at the reception desk. The nurse lets Graves inside to take shelter from the rain. They stay in reception for 30 minutes. Then the nurse had to step away, leaving the defendant alone. He made his way to the rooftop, followed shortly after by Nathaniel Montclair. Using the steel pipe, Graves brains Montclair, nearly killing him. Around the same time, at 12:11, Bishop was detected entering the hospice from the adjacent wing. We know this because he triggered the security camera just above the door. The footage is junk, but the camera itself has a record of going off for 3 minutes at 12:11 a.m. The door is employee only. I think Bishop picked the lock to get in. It would explain that 3-minute wait. So having already taken care of his first target, Graves waited for Bishop to get up to the roof. When he had a clear shot, he took it. At some point during the victim's ascent to the roof, the first floor of the hospital flooded. After killing Bishop, Graves jumped off the building, narrowly avoiding death. Round 1, Catherine Winters stumbled across an unconscious Montclair at the rooftop, and Nurse Dmitry Volkov recovered the defendant, who was floating half dead near the front entrance. Aside from the defendant, no one could have entered or left the building during that flood, which lasted until 7 o'clock the next morning. Which was also about the time Kurt Bishop's body was found and the police were contacted. Oh, the flooding there. Just notice the flooding in the diagram. That's about it. Interesting. I appreciate having a timeline, but considering how vague the thing is, I doubt I can use it effectively as evidence. And by the way, notice the blackout hasn't come up yet. Well, like any medical facility, Jameson Memorial is outfitted with backup generators. Backup generators? The building suffered a loss of power. Every patient on life support will be dead in minutes. Generators are set up so that lights won't so much as flicker. That would explain why nobody's mentioned it. Should keep that in the back of my mind. It could come up again later. So, are we done here? No, not yet. If I stop here, I'd basically be saying that I accept the prosecution's logic. I'd like to avoid doing that if at all possible. If I give him an inch, he'll take a mile. That's the impression I get. I think think I'll start this trial off properly by sending a message. Sure, but do you really think there's a contradiction here? I don't think they've arrested Graves if there were any glaring problems. Maybe not, but I think I still have a shot at this. So far, our understanding of the crime is unbelievably shaky. There's so much we don't know. The victim didn't do anything while he was in the executive wing. What actually happened between Graves and Montclair on the patient wing roof? What was the motive for any of it? I may never find a blatant contradiction, but if I keep forcing the points that don't quite make sense, I might get somewhere. I should start thinking about what is being implied by a testimony, not just what's being said. Read between the lines, in other words. And to start off, I'm going to point out that part of the prosecution's logic that implies some very strange behavior from the defendant. Alright, what are we getting at here? So just how do you intend to send a message? Well, I got a pretty good idea. It's not a major flaw, but there's one part of the prosecution's case that sticks out. Examine the piece of evidence that doesn't fit with the rest. We try this?
Objection!
Nope. Your Honor, do you notice anything odd about this testimony? No, Miss Fay. I don't see anything wrong. You need to be more open-minded, Your Honor. You need to ask yourself, is there nothing wrong here, or is everything wrong? And just what is a contradiction, really? Two opposing facts are the eternal struggle of being human. Life is a set of contradictions, and our fleeting existence is but a ship on its raging waves. What? What? Penalty? That's deep, man. A piece of evidence that doesn't fit with the rest. So this is not the answer, but this is just something odd I wanted to point out about the way this map is set up. You can see my cursor on this. Should be able to, at least. So here's the map. It's the top of the executive roof. Looks like the stairwell is on the side that faces the patient wing roof. Like here. Assume we're orienting these maps with the stairwell in mind. So this is the backside, the far edge of the patient wing roof, which means that, in theory, our client would be here, looking to take the shot at Gray, at Bishop. Assuming this is the stairwell up, and that's on the and that makes this the side that faces the patient wing. That's a hell of a shot. to cross both rooftops and hit the victim literally on the farthest point of the roof. Behind the stairwell, to boot. That's just weird. Okay. I suppose... Okay. Took a bit to figure out, but... it kind of makes sense. We present the steel pipe here.
Objection!
The steel pipe was procured on site, not premeditated. That's the small quibble we have here. Detective, on behalf of this court, I'd like to thank you and your team for all of your hard work. However, I can't help but notice a problem with the events as you tell them. Is that a fact? Well, let's have it then. My attention keeps getting drawn to these, the pipe used to strike Montclair. Frankly, the nature of this pipe doesn't fit with the crime as we understand it.
Objection!
I don't mean to steal your thunder, Miss Fay, but I have a feeling I know where you're going with this. Why did the culprit use an improvised weapon if the murder was premeditated? Right? Well, sorry, but that's just not good enough. Huh? But, just explain why it doesn't make any sense. Yes, I did. However, that's from our perspective. And our perspective, sadly, is rather lacking. We don't know what happened on that roof that night. All we can say for sure is that blood was spilled. There are a plethora of reasons that the defendant could have had to use the pipe instead of the bow. For example, maybe he didn't have time to load the crossbow. Maybe he only had one bolt. They may not make sense to us, but the defendant's actions might have been perfectly logical. We just can't know for sure. That's a weak argument, and you know it. Are you honestly telling me you arrested my client without even knowing what he did at the crime scene? How could you arrest anyone with such a brazen lack of information? Look, you're right. As far as we can tell, there's no way to figure any of this out. Not definitively. The thing is, even if the outcome of that meeting doesn't quite make sense, as long as nothing is outright contradictory, it doesn't matter. Since none of the hospice's residents could have prepared for the crime, we have 3 suspects. Donald Graves, Nurse Catherine Winters, and Nurse Dmitry Volkov. However, we can prove that neither nurse went to the patient wing rooftop that night. On top of this, we found no connection between them and NX0, which the culprit must have had. Oh, no connection with Nurse Winters, eh? We have that in our back pocket now. Graves, though, went to the roof and had a connection to NX0. See if the pipe thing doesn't quite make sense. It's not enough to change anything. I assume from your silent glare that you have no objections? Guess I have no choice. That was all I had to work with. The defense has no further objections. Then you have no problems with the case I've presented. Oh, I have tons, but not within this shoddy framework you've established. Well, that's too bad then, isn't it? Alright. I think we can basically wrap this thing up. Your Honor?
Objection!
Wait, back up. The trial's not done yet, thank you. I know you still have a witness to bring to the stand. Nurse Winters, I believe. This trial isn't over until we've heard all witness accounts.
Objection!
Actually, Winters' testimony is highly unnecessary. The only thing she witnessed was Donald Graves entering the hospice. And that's like one of the only things we knew for sure already.
Objection!
How could there possibly be no point? Everything about this case is vague and uncertain. Why wouldn't we want supporting testimony? The specifics shouldn't matter. This is the court of law. You want Winter's testimony, huh? Alright. I'll give it to you. I let the defendant into the building. There. I believe I just saved the defense an hour of running it around in circles.
Objection!
This feels like fate music. The defense politely requests the prosecution refrain from demeaning procedure. Your Honor, it is this court's duty to ensure no voice goes unheard. Miss Faye, I understand your position. However, this is a trying time for Los Angeles and its people. It would be remiss of us to put further strain on our medical workers or our law enforcement. I believe it would be best to allow everyone to return to their lives and their livelihoods promptly. As such, I'm inclined to agree with the prosecution. Haha! Sorry, that's just how it is. What? This guy. Is he seriously not going to let the court hear the only witness's testimony? That's not... How is that... To hell with disaster relief. There's no way this is legal. What the hell am I supposed to do? I have to stop this. If I don't get something to work with, my case is done for. Your Honor, I implore you. The court needs to hear Winter's testimony. You truly say you passed proper judgment without having heard all the facts. Miss Faye, believe me when I say I empathize with your predicament. However, the prosecution has made a solid argument. What? No, he hasn't. Simply don't see any reason to bring the nurse to the stand. But there is a reason, Your Honor. I can't believe I have to point this out. Miss Winters was the only one to see the defendant that night, correct? You're mistaken. Mia, please. Do you think we're incompetent? Put Winters through every test there is. The man she saw was undeniably Donald Graves. Not to mention that Graves had to have gotten into the hospice somehow. And Nurse Volkov verified that Winters was at reception between 11 and 12. She saw the defendant. That much is certain. And like it or not, that's just not information we need to hear. Damn it. No matter how much I struggle, I can't deny that the testimony is redundant. It's just that... That's not a real problem, right? I'm not prepared to deal with this. I thought this job was all about yelling and pointing and stuff. Less. I just need to yell and point louder. Not to be a downer here, but are we boned or what? Maybe. But maybe not. You got something? Sure. The hell does he mean, sure? Do we have a plan or don't we? I know what I need to do to get Winters on the stand, but I have no idea how I'm going to pull this off. Miss Faye, I'm sorry, but we need to wrap this up. Unless you have anything else to add, I'm afraid the trial will end here. Something was very wrong here. If I intend to get to the bottom of it, or anything else for that matter, there's only one way forward. And that is clearly to accuse her of murder. There's only one way forward. I'm going to yell and point and stuff. Hell yeah. Your Honor. What is it, Mrs. Faye? The prosecution does not object to a change of plea. That's not it. The defense... Point. Man's witness be brought to the stand. Jesus, you just don't listen, do you? Testimony is useless. How many times to... Save your breath. I know the testimony is useless. But it's not useless because it's redundant. Witness's testimony is useless because... Witness is lying. Possibly. Pardon me? Now we're talking. But, serious business now. Aside from the whole evidence thing, why in the world would you think a witness is lying? He said she might be lying. Miss Winters was the only person to have seen the defendant before the murder. Basically, if she's lying, this entire case falls apart. Again, setting aside the whole evidence thing. Tell us, Mia, why might the witness be lying? There's only one way I can play this, so I may as well go all the way. Simple. The only reason the witness would lie would be because she is the real killer. Well, Though I'm pretty sure there were supposed to be a few more testimonies before this part. Mrs. Fay! Miss Fay, are you quite serious? Alright, you got me. I'm all invested now. You want to have some fun with this thing, huh? Alright, Mia, I'm game. Let's have a battle of wits, you and I. How about it? Fair warning, though. I play for keeps. Prosecutor? Let's just get this over with. Hey, you can at least pretend like you're excited. Don't lie. You were looking forward to this, weren't you? This guy. Well, whatever. Let's get down to business. Seriously, Winters might be lying because there's a chance she might be the killer. Oh, but unfortunately for you, it's quite impossible for her to be the culprit. We've forgotten the very basis of our case against Graves. Here's a hint. It rhymes with Xanax Hero. And guess who's not a Xanax Hero? Winters. I'm suddenly very confused. So, Mia, how would Winters have been able to fake Shields' modulation into phone calls? Be warned, I'm going to want you to back up your argument. Naturally. You see, the case against Graves was built around this problem, but your reasoning is faulty. How did Winters know about that modulation? I'll show you how. We don't actually have the other thing that we found in Winter's office. We just have the weather report. This is how? You sound pretty confident in that. Yes, I am? Respectfully, I disagree. Wait, let me try again. Unless we're saying that she knows of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay. How is this even a question? You don't know all the parties involved in NX0. You said so yourself. Is it entirely possible that Captain Winters is S.H.I.E.L.D.? Okay. Oh. I prepared to accuse a yet unheard of witness for serial kidnapping in addition to murder. I hope so. Because frankly, that would be extremely entertaining. There's no need for that. If I recall correctly, Prosecutor, didn't you also tell the court that this game of Shields was live-streamed to an anonymous audience? The claim that only those involved with NX0 can be the culprit is blatantly misleading. Because anyone could be involved with NX0. Oh, please. What possible motive would Shields' viewership have for committing a crime like this? Motive? Motive? You have to be kidding me. Tell me, Edgeworth, what's Donald Graves' motive for murder, huh? Well, we just can't know for sure, right, Edgeworth? That's what you told me a minute ago. You haven't substantiated a single thing this entire trial. And you're asking me about motive. Frankly, how dare you? I am 100% adrenaline right now. Well played. A bit argumentative, but, Miss Fay, you will calm yourself. Why are you booing her? She's right. I mean, carry on. Nice to know someone here is more useless than I am. It is just normal judge with a different sprite at this point. I'm right there with you. Hi, you're still here, Detective. No, there's no need to be so touchy. This was just a warm-up after all. You didn't think that was all I had, did you? Oh my god, please get on with it. Did you ever what the detective said? Both nurses were seen throughout the night. They have alibis.
Objection!
There's no way those are airtight. For starters, I doubt you can call the patients at the hospital reliable. And secondly, you just told us Winters was alone with the defendant for half an hour. That's more than enough time to commit the murder.
Objection!
Mia. Misunderstand me. Of course we can't track both staff members' every movement. No. Instead, we asked whether or not the nurses were wet. Okay, that's fair. That's right. In order to commit the murder, the killer had to have been on the roof. And you can't have gone to the rooftop without getting soaked by Hurricane Seth. Both nurses have verified the other was dry the entire night. Don't say that they used a raincoat or had a change of clothes or something. Raincoat wouldn't have done much in hurricane force winds, and more clothes wouldn't dry their hair. How about an open window then? She could have dumped Graves out the window and shot Bishop from there as well. Do you think a place that houses radically depressed people has windows that open? No dice. Not one window in the building opens. Plus, blood spatter from Montclair indicates the rooftop is definitely where he was struck. So there goes your window theory, whatever. Getting really sick of this guy. Just like before, if I back down here, it's over. There's no other way. I have to destroy Winter's alibi right here and now. You aren't willing to give up yet, are you? Let's lay this question to rest then. How could Winters be the killer and not get soaked by the rain? She covered herself in the rain. She didn't need to go outside. She had a change of clothes. Obviously, the prosecution's logic is flawed. Logic is flawed, prosecutor. You've already established that Winters went out into the rain that night. She went out into the storm. You're just making things up now, huh? Sorry, Edgeworth, but no. You know this as well as I do. Very likely. Where's your proof? The evidence that shows why Winters went out into the rain is... Oh, okay, this is the thing that's happening. Check the timeline. I think I'm off base here, but, because... You have no idea what you're talking about, do you? No, she definitely went out into the rain that night. Very likely. Where's your proof? Wait. We're not being sent back, so...
Take that!
Because she was the one who... Oh. She was the one who discovered Montclair on the roof. Look, you weren't there when I found him unconscious. If you had been, you'd understand. Dr. McLean said the same thing on the stand. That's right. He's You're joking, right? His body wasn't discovered until 1 o'clock a.m. It's an hour after the meeting was supposed to happen and one and a half since Graves showed up. You've claimed that Winters didn't go to the roof until then. And you've also claimed that no one was hurt until 1 o'clock. In other words, Graves and Monty were just sitting around somewhere the whole time. I sincerely doubt it. Here's something you probably didn't think about. Nathaniel Montclair is, of course, a patient at Jameson Memorial. As you might guess, patients aren't permitted to leave their rooms in the middle of the night to meet with shady people on the hospice roof during hurricanes. So he snuck out without telling anyone where he was going. When staff found out old Monty was missing, they searched the entire facility. If either Graves or Montclair were anywhere inside, they would have been seen.
Objection!
They wouldn't have been inside. Someone instructed me on the rooftop. You already know that no one checked the roof until 1 o'clock.
Objection!
You did a good job holding out that long, but you're clearly improvising now. First of all, who the heck stays out in a hurricane for an hour? And secondly, according to your theory, Winters accosted both of them simultaneously by herself. You really think she's strong enough to fight two adult men at the same time? I agree. You agree? We agree? Yep, I figured this out. You have? Yeah. Winters cheated. And so will I. But really, you know how Winters really nearly killed 3 people without going to the crime scene or overpowering the victims? Of course. It happened like I said. Graves and Montclair were on the roof until, say, 12:45. Just when Winters showed up and nearly killed them both. She also shot Bishop at this point. It fits into his estimated time of death perfectly.
Objection!
And I just went over why. Let me finish. Something that explains why they stayed out in the storm and how Winters overpowered them. Something like that's very easily obtainable for someone in her profession. But it'll keep us waiting. Of course. Yeah. Winters could have easily pulled this crime off by using sedatives, hallucinogens, adrenaline, or grape soda. Sedatives, obviously. She used sedatives to knock Graves and Montclair unconscious. Perhaps anesthesia. Anesthesia? We are starting to spitball on the level of, we are starting to pull off some turnabout pairs level of spitballing here, but here's how it could have gone. At 10:30, Graves arrives at the hospice. At some point in the next 30 minutes, Winters injects him with the sedative. She drags his body into the elevator and takes him to the top floor. From there, she brings him up to the rooftop and pushes him out the door. She repeats this process with Montclair. It would be far easier to sedate. And she waits a while, joins in on the search for Montclair even. At around 12:45, maybe, she goes back to the roof. She tosses Graves off the top, brains Montclair with a pipe, and shoots Bishop with a bow. After that, all she has to do is run to Volkov and tell him she found Montclair. As much as I want to, justify this as being better, it is. I'm not gonna. That's how Winters could have committed this crime. Your wild fantasy might explain why Graves and Montclair stayed out in the storm for an hour, but there's still no reason for Bishop to have been out there that long.
Objection!
Of course he wouldn't have been out the roof for that long. Did you forget? Graves and Montclair were to show up at 12 o'clock. But Bishop not until 12:30. My theory is right. He would have only been outside for 15 or 20 minutes at most.
Objection!
Nope. Sorry. Still wrong. If Graves and Montclair were injected with anything, we would have found traces. Fair point. Yet both of them underwent an examination and neither one found anything of the sort. Like these spitballing theory crafting segments are very much serve the same narrative purpose in both cases. No needle marks, no residual effects, no traces of the drug. Your theory doesn't hold water. No, still possible. I can prove it. All you do is take a closer look at what these examinations actually found. might have sounded confident all you want, but it's obvious you're grasping at straws here. But alright, I'm a nice guy. I'll give you a chance to explain yourself. Why did Graves' examination not turn up any traces of injection? So we can choose for the injuries. Interestingly, the date, orbital fracture, numerous minor wounds, or pneumonia. I want to say it's... The needle mark would have been obscured by the defendant's wounds. Nice try. The examiner still should have found the traces of the sedative in the defendant's blood. Maybe. Something else then. Okay, we're just getting to run through everything. The date. Needle marks would have been obscured by the defendant's cuts and scrapes, and the drug would have more than run its course by the 20th. Oh! Graves definitely could have been injected with a sedative. Fine. But you're only halfway there, Mia. Have you even forgotten about Montclair's exam? Like the defendant, Montclair sustained only one injury. And he was tested the same day. Can't worm your way around that. Easy. Okay. Montclair's choices. Da Costa-Vercazi syndrome. Thiamine drip. What is thiamine? It's a supplement. A vitamin, even. No, it's definitely the physician. Did you even read this report? Winters performed this exam. What? If Winters did sedate Montclair, all she had to do was omit it from her report. There. I think I proved... Oh, just give it up already. Mark. The needle mark. Examine Montclair right now. Right this second. You should be able to find the mark for this alleged injection. Nah. Search all you want. There won't be any needle mark because... Oh, what? Alright, we're just going right back to this? Alright, say thiamine drip. Montclair has a disorder called Da Costa-Vercazi syndrome. In order to combat this disorder, he was put on a thiamine drip. When you consider that, it becomes quite obvious that the drug could have been injected. Straight into Montclair's IV bag. Oh? Oh? I guess this quest feels more... This, theory crafting quest feels more earned. Like it's actually backed up by evidence. What is this now? Oh. What have we here? What is going on here? Huh? Somewhere between, are we? That won't do at all. I'm sorry? Be at peace and dream. It won't be long now. Sorry? What? Excuse me? He was yelling something about taking shelter from the storm, so I let him inside. With the defendant, he and I stayed in the lobby for a half hour or so. At 12 o'clock, I left to take care of some things. Figured he would be okay on his own for a while. This is a concise testimony, indeed. There's really nothing wrong with it, at any rate. Well, Mia, was it everything you were hoping for? It doesn't seem to be anything new here. Alone something contradictory. There must be something. You just need to dig around for it. What the shit was that? Or the murder. Wow, we just jumped in medias res into that testimony.
Hold it!
What are you doing at reception? Surely you didn't expect anyone to show up. Dimitri and I had spent most of the evening preparing for the hurricane. We had moved all the patients and equipment up from the ground floor already, so I was loading a cart up with as much stuff from the front desk as I could. Files, computers, those kinds of things. Who is Dimitri again? Dimitri Volkov, Your Honor. He was the other nurse on duty that night. Big Russian guy. Claims to have been a KGB assassin. What? That's Dimitri for you. Just a big softy. All of our Cold War era patients think he's a hoot. A hoot is not how I would describe Dmitry Volkov. Anyway, I think I'd better just come out and ask it. Nurse Winters, earlier I proved that you had an opportunity to commit the murder. Okay. I don't necessarily believe you to be the culprit, but I still have to ask. Do you have any proof you were really in the lobby that night? So you don't necessarily believe I'm the killer then? Huh? But you still have me arrested over your client, right? No, actually. Thought so. And no, I don't have any proof that I was actually at the front desk. I mean, you can check reception. Everything there has been moved. By me, of course. That's got to count for something, right? I couldn't have done it all that and kill someone. Edgeworth? Sorry, I don't know if it's possible. Winters was never considered a suspect, after all. I'll get the detective to check it out after he verifies that there are no missing sedatives at the hospice. Did Nurse Volkov ever stop by reception, witness? Not while I was there. I saw him a few times throughout the night. We didn't speak until after 12 o'clock p.m. 12 a.m. May I remind you, Mia, that the witness has not done or said anything suspicious. Her alibi isn't airtight, sure, but that alone doesn't make her more of a suspect than Donald Graves. Who is, hella suspicious, yo. I get it. I need some evidence. I won't find any here. I should focus on the key points of her testimony. I believe my client told you he was driving in from out of town, is that correct? That's right. I admit that at the time I thought that was a bit suspicious, but I didn't want to just leave him. Hold on, back up. What about his excuse was suspicious? You have a valid reason. Look, you've been to the hospice, so you should know what the road to the facility is like. A 5-minute detour through the woods to the middle of nowhere. Exactly. There's no way he just happened upon us on his way into town. No one would turn down such a backwoods road in search of shelter. So you let someone you thought was clearly suspicious into the hospice? It wasn't like that. I thought he was just lost and didn't want to admit it. Never would have let him inside if I had thought he was dangerous or something. But his actions are clearly justified. The defendants, on the other hand, oh, give me a break.
Hold it!
This is it, the crucial statement. There are a bunch of questions I could ask here. The door. You set the scene for us, little witness. Sure, I guess. The doors to the building are mostly glass. I first saw the man through them. I was over behind the front desk when I heard knocking. I looked over and saw the defendant. The doors were locked. Of course they were. We don't allow visitors after 6 p.m. We also had a few sandbags in the way in case the storm was bad. Fat lot that did. Anyway, I unlocked the door and asked him what he was doing out there. He said he wanted to take refuge from the storm, so I let him in. Well? Mission important? I don't think so. No, I don't think that's information I can use.
Hold it!
I'm just spitballing here. What should my client do in those 30 minutes? Nothing, really. I had to finish getting all the supplies off the front desk packed up, so I was doing that. And he just sat in reception reading those crappy magazines we leave around. Really? That's it. That's it. Honestly. I guess we'll come back to that.
Hold it!
His appearance. Could you tell us more about the man you saw? Like what he was wearing, for example? What he was wearing? Let's see. He was dressed unremarkably, for the most part. Lightweight black jacket, blue jeans, sneakers. The only thing that stood out was his black leather gloves. Oh, that's not suspicious at all. Did he have anything with him? Not that I saw. I'll try to add that to her testimony. Sure. Wait, could you add that to your testimony? Alright. Pair of black leather gloves. That doesn't really help us whatsoever, does it? Thinking.
Hold it!
Nothing else caught your attention, really? No, nothing else comes to mind. You're absolutely sure it was the defendant? Yeah, it was him, all right. Could you perhaps describe his features for the court?
Objection!
Just give it up already, Mia. You saw the defendant. You're proving that she isn't mistaken. What do you expect to change by asking the same question over and over again? Miss Fay, I have to agree with the prosecution. If you continue to push the subject, I will be forced to penalize you for badgering the witness. I understand, Your Honor. Well, is it like Graves was never at the hospice at all? They recovered his body. It makes sense that Graves was the man Winters let inside. And if it isn't true, that Winters is lying and would never tell us the truth anyway. Oh, it's definitely best if I back off for now. You may continue, witness.
Hold it!
Just happened to step away at the exact time the defendant needed to go to the roof. Suspicious no matter how you look at it.
Objection!
Maybe it would have gone through roof earlier. If he was alone in the lobby. The witness was simply performing her duties. It was nothing out of the ordinary. It was so important that you had to leave the man by himself, witness. A patient needed assistance, so I went to check on them. Could you be more specific?
Objection!
And how exactly is this relevant? She gave you an answer. If you want to dig around and try to find something incriminating, maybe don't be so obvious about it. I don't think there's anything immediately wrong with her testimony, but it isn't very detailed. So who's the killer? I don't know for sure, but if she is, there should be details missing from her story. Hey, there you go. I'll stall for as long as I can, but please hurry. What? What happened off screen here? What am I missing here? What happened off screen? Something happened. Something definitely happened while we were dissociating here. And I'm concerned.
Hold it!
Sure, let's at it.
Hold it!
I can't think of a single notable occurrence. I honestly can't. Did you ever talk with the man? We exchanged a line or two as I let him inside, but not after that. He commented on the weather, and I told him to sit in the lobby and not to go anywhere. Advice he took to heart, I see. Har har. You can continue, Winters. I don't think we're gonna get anything after that.
Hold it!
What is missing from this statement? Let's add it. Visit the doors to your testimony, okay.
Hold it!
Doors are made of glass. Obviously you need to unlock the doors to let the defendant in. Did you remember to relock them afterwards? Of course I did. I even double-checked. And there's no way to open the doors for the outside. It would be a very poor lock if there were. The door doesn't move at all if it's locked. I mean, you can lock and unlock the door from either side using the key, but the key was still in its spot at the front desk when I retrieved it after midnight. You've only got the one, before you ask. So basically, it was impossible for anyone to enter after the defendant. Thanks for establishing that for us, Mia. Anyway. Seems to do... Oh shit, didn't mean to do that. There's a pair of black gloves. I don't know. Don't think we have anything that makes this relevant, but oh, I'm a fool. If the defendant used the how'd the crossbow get in here?
Objection!
How'd the crossbow get in here, then? Witness, you claim that my client stood out due to his gloves, yes? That's what I said. This was the only notable detail about the man. Yeah? Is there a problem? Not for me, no, since, according to you... Do the pointing thing. The defendant didn't have the murder weapon with him.
Objection!
Okay, settle down. Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. Just because the witness didn't see the bow doesn't mean he didn't have it. He probably hid it inside a briefcase or something. But according to the witness's testimony, there was no briefcase. She probably just missed it. How would she have noticed the defendant's gloves, but not what he was carrying? No matter how you look at it, the man this witness saw could not have been the murderer. Witness, was the man you saw indeed empty-handed? I'm positive he didn't have anything with him. See? Without the weapon, there's no way Donald Graves could be the culprit.
Objection!
It's not as simple as that, I'm afraid. Not bringing the weapon with him doesn't clear the defendant's name. I don't see what you mean, prosecutor. Surely this crime is impossible without the crossbow. Oh, the defendant had the bow, all right. It was implanted on the roof prior to the murder. Fixed it. That's right. The defendant must have visited the hospice before and hid the bow on the roof. Clears up your contradiction quite nicely, won't you say? Prove it. Actually, I disagree. Oh, please, don't give me that. The hospice might have a security system, but all the records have been washed away. We would have left the record on the visitor list, probably, but those are gone too. It's totally possible the defendant planted the crossbow on an earlier visit. Well, pretty solid, huh? I have evidence. Well, golly, that's not a phrase I've heard often today. I don't care about security cameras or visitor records. Planting the crossbow is impossible because... Oh, the thing was the roof was under construction. We want to present steel pipe? Yes. Because the rooftop was under construction. I won't disagree that Graves, or anyone else for that matter, could have stuck into the hospice. Since the doors are locked at night and there's construction throughout the day, there was no opportunity to hide the crossbow. So what? The workers would have been busy. No. There's no way you're worming out of this one. Just admit it. The defendant had no way to bring the weapon to the crime scene. Meaning he can't be the killer.
Objection!
Donald Graves is still the most likely suspect. The evidence doesn't support that claim. The evidence supports your claim that Winters is the murderer. That's just it, Edgeworth. The evidence doesn't point to anything. Look at the court record. The evidence doesn't incriminate anybody, Graves or otherwise. Your entire case is nothing but conjecture. Relied on Graves being contextually suspicious. I think this is the difference. When I was stumbling through the whole case of let's go on a magical journey of putting together facts to make Captain Winters seem suspicious. I think that's the difference I'm looking for between when this game is doing it and when Turnabout Pairs did it. I think that's the difference I'm looking for. There is no clear suspect, so we're kind of dancing back and forth, interpreting evidence on both sides. I guess the context is still the same in that if we don't come up with a plausible theory, then we lose. But in Turnabout Pairs' case, we didn't really have any reason to believe in Ronnie. In this case, we certainly have reason to believe in Donald Graves being innocent. We probably have more reason to believe in him not being guilty because this whole case is sus as fuck. But, yeah, I think the ambiguousness of this case so far really helps justify a sequence like that. But that's just me rambling. It's time for me to sign off for today. This is picking up. This is certainly picking up. Until next time, until then.